Ah, welcome to Wednesday. Y'all know why we're here, so let's just get right into it. Yesterday, Season 3 of Plathville aired. Season 3, Episode 1. We have a lot to talk about. I would like to put out that this was a very good introductory episode. It was very, very calm. The calm before the storm, I believe. So the first 20 minutes of the episode, we're talking about, the older kids, Ethan, Olivia, Micah, Mariah. And then the other 20 was Kimba. It was a glorious 20 minutes, wasn't it? So let's fucking begin. So we start the episode off with a recap from Season 2. And then they cut into this clip.
Back then, it seemed like you were in a good place. Ethan confronted his parents, and the last thing we hear from you two is, we have each other. So what happened since then between you?
I honestly don't know that I can do this.
So it's very apparent that at this point in time that Ethan and Olivia are not doing well. And I mean this in the sense that for those who saw the last episode of Season 2, Kim gave Ethan basically an ultimatum. Either you work on stuff with Barry and I on our time, or you won't see the kids. And Ethan is going through it at the moment, which obviously can cause problems in relationships. Because you guys have to remember that Ethan grew up only really hanging with his family. He doesn't have an outlet. He doesn't know how to express his anger. And I'm not going to sit here and say, that that's okay. But at the same time, I have to play devil's advocate. He doesn't know what to do, what to think, how to act. And that's easy to take it out on your current relationship when you're stuck between two families, your own and your parents and your siblings. I'd like to put a future disclaimer real time that Ethan and Olivia are still married and they're doing pretty well. It is 100% normal for relationships to take tolls, and we have to remember, you guys, that Ethan and Olivia are 22 years old. They are still figuring life out. Fuck, I'm 30 and I'm still figuring life out. Ever bought a house before? This shit is wild. But like I said before, it is very apparent at this point in time of filming that Ethan and Olivia are not doing well. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but at this point in the season, I'm already worried. Even though I know they're okay, I'm still fucking worried. Let's move on. So then we move on to Micah and Mariah's house, where Max is making Mariah's bed, and they're talking about what a great relationship Max and Mariah have, and that, they've been doing well since the last time that we saw them. I love that I start filming and my neighbors are now outside screaming. Can't wait to move and have my own office. And the first part of the segment was super boring. That's just, Micah and Mariah and Max are talking about, Micah and Mariah's relationship and how they're also living together. And then Max pulls Micah aside.
Mariah and I are about to go on a year now of dating, and I want to do something to show what she means to me. So, I guess I should just tell you. So, my intentions are to eventually marry Mariah.
Call TMZ.
Obviously I'm nowhere near getting to that point in life. But I want to let her know that, I am taking this seriously and that she does mean that much to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get her a promise ring to put on our pinky, because we always pinky promise each other.
Yeah.
And
super cute. Love this idea. They've been dating for almost a year. He wants to show that he's committed to her. I stand this. I like this relationship so far. So moving along, we cut back to Ethan and Olivia was out of town for a week, and she drops a bomb that she hasn't talked to Ethan, at all.
Ethan went and kind of confronted his parents and told them goodbye and told his siblings goodbye. And I think processing that anger for the first time was kind of an awakening inside him. He's just now grappling with a lot of things that he kind of laughed off before, used humor to brush off. And he's changed a lot in the past couple of months. He's a very different person. I mean, he is pretty angry. So I told him a couple weeks ago, after I came home from a therapy session, you're going to have to go to therapy as well in order to make this work. And he was supposed to have his first therapy session while I was out of town. Hopefully he's not in a bad mood.
So again, Ethan doesn't know how to process the way he's thinking. He's pissed off at his parents for giving him an ultimatum. He loves his siblings and he wants to see his siblings, but he can't unless it's on Kim and Barty's time. And Kim and Barty made it very clear that if they don't work things out, then Ethan can't see his siblings. Gaslighting. You're going to do things on our terms so that you can see your siblings. He's pissed. I don't blame him. He's fucking mad. And sorry, not sorry, therapy is helpful. I love therapy.
What'd you do over the weekend?
I worked on my cars.
Oh. Did you go to your therapy appointment last night?
Yeah, can I have a hug?
Yeah. How was your therapy appointment?
It sucked. I talked to a stranger that didn't know about all my problems.
It's kind of helpful, though, yeah?
Whatever. Since the day that I spoke with my parents last year, I still have a lot of anger and resentment towards them. So Olivia's really wanted me to go to a personal therapist. I did give that a try, but it didn't do anything for me.
Okay, let's talk about this scene, because I saw a lot of rude comments on Instagram, on Twitter. Like, the first thing Olivia did was come home and ask how therapy was. Yeah, she did. And that's a problem. Why? And I mean that in a way that obviously she came home and obviously they cut clips together to put segments together. So we don't know if this is the first thing that she said to him. And if she did, then so fucking be it. She was asking if he went to therapy because clearly he's struggling. He needs somebody professional to talk to because he's never talked to a therapist before. So I see it as holding him accountable. Hey, I think you should try therapy because you don't know how to process your anger and your resentment. So how did therapy go? Because I was gone and you said you were going to go. We don't know the events that led up to Olivia suggesting therapy. It is very, very apparent that Ethan is angry. Ethan is disassociated. It looks like he doesn't even want to exist at this point. And I say that with all the love, and I'm calling Ethan out. It's okay to be angry and it's okay to have resentment, but it's not okay to bottle it up, especially when you don't know how to channel it. And that's just my sole opinion, and you can disagree or agree. You need therapy. And again, I just want to say that I mean that in a loving way. I've been seeing a therapist since I was 15 for multiple reasons. Number one being childhood trauma. If I wouldn't have seen a therapist, I don't know where I'd be. I sure as hell wouldn't be married, buying a house. And I understand he doesn't want to go to therapists. His way of dealing with things is working on cars and being quiet and staying quiet. But he's been told all his life to push his problems aside and that everything's fine. So all of these feelings on top of the anger and resentment towards his parents are completely normal. I just wanted to make myself clear that I can see where he's coming from. And it's not a bad thing that Olivia asked him about his therapy appointment. If my husband was going to therapy for anger and resentment towards his parents, the first thing I'd ask him after coming home from a trip was, how was therapy? Because I'm genuinely concerned about you. I genuinely want to know if it was okay or what your thoughts were. It's called having a conversation.
Something that I think about quite often is the relationship that I gave up with my siblings for my marriage. And honestly, it pisses me off to no end. I kind of feel that my mom used my younger siblings as leverage to get me to do what she wanted me to do. She told me, you won't be able to see your siblings until we're okay. And we're okay means you guys just do what we want, and then we'll all be all right. That's just messed up.
We call this narcissism. Family member narcissist meaning, in simple terms, a narcissistic family is one in which the needs of the parents are the focus and the children are expected in various ways to meet those needs. Ethan can't see his siblings unless the four of them work shit out on Kim and Barry's time. Not on Olivia and Ethan's time. Not with their boundaries. With Kim Bob. I will fight this until the day that I die, that Kim Bob and Bartleby are narcissists. It's their way or the highway. It's whatever they want, and they're not thinking of Olivia and Ethan. They don't think that they've done anything wrong to them, when in reality, they're the ones that fucked up. So why would Ethan not be allowed to see his sibling? Because Kim Bob said so. And it's disgusting. She doesn't give anybody a choice. She makes the choices. And the reason she doesn't like Ethan and Olivia at the moment is because they've made their choices. And she can't control that. So what does that mean? It means that she can control what she has control of, which are the younger kids. So if Ethan and Olivia don't want to work on stuff with Kim and Bartleby, then Kim takes away all of those rights until those kids turn 18. And it does more damage to the kids than it does to Ethan and Olivia. But then she twists it and say that Ethan and Olivia don't want to be around, which isn't true. Do you
want to talk about it?
Nope. Disassociated, wants nothing to do with the conversation.
Okay. I've tried to have every conversation possible from every angle possible. I've tried to fix this and make this work because I want a progressing, growing relationship, and being at a standstill is really hard, which is why I suggested therapy in the first place. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing for the sake of our marriage thriving is that we really need to be out of Cairo.
We have to remember that Cairo is a very tiny town. Within 3 blocks is Ethan and Olivia's house, Micah and Mariah's house, and Kim Bob and Bartleby's house. It is very small. In order for them to grow as a couple and work on their things and not have the pressure of running into any of them, they need to move, which is completely acceptable. If they want to move, let them move. It's a small town. So Ethan has a very hard time with change. We all know this. So he is not on the same page of moving to Tallahassee at this point. He doesn't want to move. He wants to stay in Cairo. It's all he ever knows. Growth is hard. Change is hard.
We're very stuck in right now because we both each want a different plan. And I think that's scary because if you're striving for 2 different goals, you're going to grow apart. And I think that's where we are in our relationship right now.
Things will always get worked out or they don't. And right now it seems to be that things are not working out, which I'm sure there'll be more coming. This is only episode 1, y'all. Moving along, 20 minutes into this damn show, Kim Bob shows up. And it was a glorious 20 minutes without her. Sorry that I'm not sorry I said that.
Today is Barry's 53rd birthday.
Bartleby is 53. And Micah, Max, and Mariah are going to the farm to go celebrate. Holy shit, this is 13 parts already. This is part 14. So Micah, Max, and Mariah show up to the Plath house. And Kim starts to talk about how ever since that talk in the yard between Bart D. Crouch Jr. and Kim and Micah and Mariah, that things have gotten better with Mariah and Kim and Micah and Kim's relationship. Mariah has chosen, even though she is now living out of the house, to have a relationship with her family because that's what she feels is best. And I support that 100%. I think the best situation for Mariah was her moving out of the house and living by her own rules while still maintaining a relationship with her family. Because Kim's not judging her brand of toothpaste or her marriage because she's not married. Let's talk about Lydia, darling. Lydia is 17, and I've been informed by somebody who used to work for the state of Georgia that 17 is actually the age of adult in Georgia. Therefore, we can talk about her segments. So let's talk about Miss Lydia. The girl's wearing makeup. The girl's wearing jeans. She's changed. She's grown up. She's 17 now. She, in my opinion, has done a 180 as far as her growth in becoming a teenager. The one very apparent thing about Lydia this episode was how much she complained about not seeing Ethan. Now, once she mentioned Olivia, it's all about, I haven't seen Ethan, I miss my big brother, I miss this. And I don't know at this point in time if Ethan's just not choosing to talk to Lydia or if it's Kim Bob holding that rein saying that she can't talk to Ethan. But to keep this as short as possible, Lydia does help out Max with figuring out Mariah's ring size at dinner. And actually, props to Kim Bob, I know that's hard for me to say. They both helped out with figuring out Mariah's ring size for this pinky promise ring that Max wants to give her. So I will give props where props are due. And it was really... So basically that was the whole entire threshold of dinner, with a little bit of sprinkled in of Micah and Mariah saying that they are trying to maintain a relationship with their family members while also keeping a relationship with Ethan and Olivia, and it's been a hard balance for them because they're very biased at this point. They're not on anybody's side, which is fucking great. I'm proud of the 4 of them for figuring that all out as best they can. And Bartleby comes in wearing his football jersey from high school that was number 53, and he was weird as always. But yes, we didn't even get into the minute and a half that Kim Bob is on the screen. I literally timed it, a minute and a half before she mentioned Ethan and Olivia.
It's really nice, but I can't be there with everybody and not wish that Ethan and Olivia are part of it too. The last time I spoke with Ethan was that day in the driveway. I never dreamed that, we would have a child that would never speak to us again. As it is right now, you couldn't pry them onto our property or across the threshold of our door. And I don't know if or when they'll ever be ready to do that.
Lower your volume. Kimberly! You don't know why they don't want to come over. You don't know why they don't want to talk to you. Let's start from the beginning as to every single thing you've done since they were courting. You judged Olivia's toothpick. The wedding was all your plans and your guests and your this and your day. Not once have you taken Ethan and Olivia's boundaries, feeling, or communication that they've tried to give you and turn it into something positive. It's Kim. Ugh. I have a feeling that this was the mellow version of Kim Bob that we saw this episode. And I just can predict on my own, and knowing by the way that she works, that she is just going to get worse as the season goes on. So then she starts complaining about how Max and Mariah are always on top of each other, and Mariah says that she's never going to change that. They're not going to dumb down what they do when they're in public or when they're at family members. They're not going to change them. They're not going to change themselves just because they're going over to her parents' house. But of course she complained about it. And the reason that she complained about it is because they didn't pick Max for Mariah. And she says it herself in a different context.
Personally, we prefer to get to know other families with children similar ages. And when there's a family that we all kind of like and get along with, and there's some interest from one of our...
So what Kim's saying is that she would prefer to arrange her kids' marriages. And notice that in all of these interviews that Kim is doing, Barry is sitting there fucking silent. Like, behind the scenes, she was like, don't fucking speak. This is my show. He's just sitting there. Whatever she says. And I understand. Her house, her rules. I get it. But you basically just said that you arrange your kids to hang out with families with other kids similar ages to see if that's where it's gonna go. So you're handpicking who your kids are gonna be around as far as like getting older and dating. Sketchy. No thank you. I'm great. I don't know how many parts this is, but I'm gonna keep it short now. Trying to keep it as short as possible. Is probably gonna be like 20 parts, sorry. So the next part of this episode is Ethan and Micah doing a workout on the porch. It was great, nothing to really talk about. And I'm not going to talk about Lydia's prayer closet. I understand that it was on TV, but to me, that's a little too personal to talk about. So I will not be showing that clips either. And I didn't do it last season either, even when she was underage, and I'm not going to do it this season, so I'm really sorry, but that's just my preference. I would prefer to keep her beliefs, her thoughts, her heart to her. And then Lydia is over at Mariah's house filming her about Mariah's tattoo that she got for her 18th birthday, her black heart tattoo. And it's really nice to actually see Mariah and Lydia hanging out more and more and more. This is also because Lydia is now driving. And as we see in the clips later on in the season, she's going to have a phone that Kim Bob goes through. Oh, 160 text messages between her and this boy. Suck a duck. She's 17. So we end this episode with Lydia going for a job interview. And it's at the same place that a majority, if not all, of the Plath children have worked. And it gets spicy.
Cars and all kinds of
sounds good.
Things that, to make the place work. So,
dun, dun,
recognize
dun.
that guy.
Hey, Ethan. last time I saw Ethan was when he came over to our house a few months ago, and that wasn't the best.
This is how they ended the episode. No preview for next week's episode, just Lydia doing like a job interview at the place that Ethan is still working. And I'm very invested on how this is going to work out because Ethan hasn't talked to any of the younger siblings since that day in the driveway 6 months prior. So how the fuck is this going to go down? I'm dying to know. Thank you guys for sticking around for my millions of parts. I will be back next week with episode 2. Love you. See you later. Bye.